Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'd like to talk about the weather health stresses for June 4th, 2026. We keep additional graphics at tpatw.com. We maintain a storefront on Amazon. Looking at the surface map for Thursday, high pressure still really dominating the vast majority of the country, but there is one cool front stretching all the way from LA across Utah into Cheyenne and then on up to the Michigan Upper Peninsula. But you'll note that most of the activity is up the plains all the way from Texas into the Dakotas and toward the Great Lakes, but that's all due to southerly flow up and across that frontal position. We do have a little bit of lingering moisture in Louisiana, especially New Orleans, and then across Miami down in southern Florida. Looking at the vitality index, the actual composite measure of where all of the elements are that might have some impact on human health, and you'll note there's not a heck of a lot for Thursday. A little bit of activity here in New Mexico, some up in the Central Plains, Colorado into really Kansas and Nebraska, and there's a light issue all the way up across the Great Lakes, but really not as much significance as we do on some days. Looking at pressure change, and here again, it's not a really batch of significant falling pressure, but there is falling pressure up the plains, Kansas up to South Dakota. A little bit more significant falling pressure about the Great Lakes, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, even touching portions of Michigan. Here again, temperature change is not really significant, although the warmth from both the Pacific Northwest and the Upper Plains will be moving to the Great Lakes, the Middle Atlantic, and New England. But we do have a surge, a bubble surge of warming temperatures here up the high plains, really from New Mexico on into western Kansas and picking up portions of Colorado. Dew point temperature change not showing up a heck of a lot. However, as we move to vapor pressure, you can see that the vapor pressure is increasing quite significantly here up the plains toward the Great Lakes and into the Ohio Valley. So a little bit of surge of vapor pressure up here in the Great Lakes. That may go along with this instability or the lifted index, and it's again not as significant as it has been in recent days, but there is still that minor surge up the plains. Looking at the change in oxygen availability, and this is a significant change from recent past, with the migraine stresses really very limited up here across Idaho, another patchy area of migraine stresses in west central Minnesota, and then some migraine stresses here across the state of Mississippi. You'll note that we have an asthma and arthritis risk across portions of California into Oregon and Washington. The most significant area of asthma and arthritis stresses here, West Texas into New Mexico, and across the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle, western Kansas, up in eastern Colorado, and then up the plains. But the more significant area of arthritis and asthma risk, although it's not that significant, it is still a lingering risk all the way across the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes, and very significant here up the Appalachians, all the way from basically Atlantic Clear and up into New York and up into New England. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Your comments are appreciated. And if you hurt, let us know where you're located.